Yeah, we are laying up good stuff. Yeah.
Hey guys, this is Backdraft, and welcome to another episode in the Create Above and Beyond mod pack. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you love to create mod, Minecraft automation, and redstone engineering, then this is the channel and the series for you. So be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications so you never miss another video. So if you missed the last few episodes and you want to get caught up, then hit the playlist in the description and you can watch all of those before you hit this one, because you missed a lot. So in the last episode, we got our silver farming industry up and running. We chose the farmer profession, and we are now selling potatoes for silver. And thus far, looks like we have about 3 stacks and then some stacks of silver, which is super awesome. So in our to-do list, that is number 1 down. The next thing we have on the to-do list is the Tinker Smeltery. Now, number 5, which is probably going to be something I start in this episode, we'll see how it goes, but we want to start clearing out the surrounding areas and make way for our massive mega base that we're going to be building. I need an area about 100 by 100 completely flattened out to build this base. And although these puny iron tools have served us well up to this point, it is time to get rid of them and get a bit of an upgrade. So the first thing we're going to do in this episode is get our Tinker Smeltery up and running. I have 2 of the Tinker Smeltery books right here. This is the first one, which is the introductory one, which is Materials in You, which explains how you can make tinker tools and how to do basic smelting and all that. But we actually have enough materials at this point to build a bigger smelter. So if we go in here, we can actually look right here. This is actually the basic smelter. So we can build a bigger one and actually do a lot better and fuel it with lava instead of fueling it with coal or other combustible items. We have all that we need to do this. And the basic material in the Tinker's Construct mod that we're going to need to get a lot of is the seared brick. Now you only get 1 seared brick in this mod pack. I thought that you would get more in other ones, but I guess they made it a little bit harder in this one. But in order to get seared brick, you need to make grout. So you get 8 grout by combining a block of clay, 4 sand, and 4 gravel into a crafting grid. Now I think we're going to need somewhere along the lines of, I think it's 9 plus about 15 to 20 seared brick blocks, or just seared bricks as they call it. And then we're also going to need a seared drain, which we have the copper for. We can do that. We need the smeltery controller, which I believe just requires yes, sealed mechanisms, which we can make with the kinetic mechanisms and the cured rubber. And the last thing is the seared fuel tank, which will hold the lava that is actually used to smelt up all of the metals that we put inside of the smeltery. So we have some work to do to get all of the grout that we're going to need to get those seared bricks. We're going to need a lot of clay, gravel, and sand. So I think it's time for some material collection, but we're going to build this smeltery so we can get some better tools. The smeltery is also a necessary step in making progress towards automating the brass machine. So if we go into our quest log, into alluring expedients, right here we actually have to have molten iron. And a very, very easy way to do that is to actually feed the nuggets into the smeltery. The smeltery will automatically melt them down, and then we can feed them into the create mod spout, which will then pour that molten iron into our electron tubes to automate that piece of it. So this is also kind of a step towards doing that as well. I don't know where we're going to set it up exactly, and once we do set up the machine that will automate our brass mechanisms, we can probably move the smeltery to be over there. Alrighty, we just finished up some resource collection, and we have everything we need to get our tinker tools set up and the smeltery. So let me show you how easy this actually is. So we start off with a 3x3 base, and then we have 2 high walls. Then all we have to do once we have the walls in place is we have to put down the smeltery controller, the fuel tank, and the drain, and that is it. And then we can start smelting up stuff with this. So we'll put the casting table here, we put a faucet there, and then we could probably start making some casts. We'll need some gold for that. There's still a lot we have to do as well. But I also made our part builder and our tinker station. So this is where you'll make you can make like your tool handles and stuff out of wood. There's other things you can do as well. And with the Tinker Station, this is where you assemble tools and upgrade them. So this is where you would so if you want to do something like reinforce the tool, or add luck to it, there's all kinds of stuff you can do. It's all in the books. There's way too much to explain in just the limited amount of time we have. But we're gonna go ahead and we're going to start smelting down some, I think we're gonna do cobalt tools to start with. But we're gonna have to make casts, and we're gonna have to add fuel to this. I actually have a bucket of lava that we can put in here for fuel. That should be enough for the time being. So let's get cracking. So I've gone ahead and made 4 different casts. We have the axe head, the sword blade, the tool binding, and the pickaxe head. So I'm going to make a pickaxe, a mattock. Now, if you're not familiar with the mattock, I can show you this real quick. The mattock is actually a combined tool that is very effective on wood and dirt, so it kind of doubles as a shovel and an axe, so there's no need to make either of those. And the last one, I said pickaxe, mattock, and sword. Yeah, I think that's what we're gonna make. So I'll show you exactly how we're supposed to do this. So for example, for the pickaxe, if I click right here, we need a pickaxe head, a binding, and a handle. We can actually make the handle out of wood. So there we go, we have the tool handle. And in here I've put some cobalt already. Each cobalt ore actually gives us 1 ingot and 3 nuggets, which is really awesome. So I'll put in 2 more. That will get us a total of 4 ingots. And then once those are done melting, we can create all of the tools that we need. But we can actually show a couple of it right now. So if I put the pickaxe head casting in, or cast in here, click on the faucet, it will actually fill it up, and it will turn it into a cobalt pickaxe head. So once it makes the sizzle noise, we can grab it, and then we have the pickaxe head. So let me grab that cast. Looks like the rest is melted down. I can put in the tool binding, click, and then we'll have the tool binding. Once that sizzles, there we go. Then we can assemble the tool. So let me click on the pickaxe. I'll put in the handle, the pickaxe head, and the binding. And there we have it. We have a cobalt pickaxe. All right, we now have our cobalt pickaxe, our cobalt sword, and our cobalt mattock. The last thing I'm going to do really quick is I'm actually going to reinforce them with diamond. So adding diamond to each of the tools gives it a little bit more oomph, if you know what I mean. So right now we can see with this pickaxe, the mining level is diamond, the mining speed is 8.55, and we actually have 3 upgrades. So adding a diamond actually consumes one of those upgrades, but actually makes it a lot better. So as you can see, the mining speed goes up to 9.6, that was from 8.5. The durability goes up to 1300, and that is much, much better. So the same thing with the mattock, that will make it mine a bit faster and give it more durability. And with the sword, it will actually make it more powerful. So we can see right here with the sword, the base damage of the sword is 6.5 and the attack speed is 1.875 with 900 durability. If we add in the diamond, we get 1450 durability and 7.5 attack damage, which is actually more powerful than a diamond sword. So there we have it. We now have our tinker tools. And that's one more thing checked off the list. I actually forgot one more thing. We're actually going to reinforce these tools by creating what are called iron reinforcements. This requires you to put obsidian panes into the casting table and then pour molten iron over them. And this will create the iron reinforcement, and then these can be used in the Tinker's Station in the upgrade portion, and it will allow you to reinforce the tool. So each level of reinforcement does require an upgrade level. So for each one, I think we have 2 more upgrade levels. So we'll try to reinforce them to, I think essentially it adds, I think it's called Reinforced 2, which makes it, it's kind of like unbreaking. But that can actually, instead of going to all the way to 3, you can go up to 5. And then eventually, you can even make unbreakable tools. So unbreakable is actually an ability, and each tool can only have 1 ability applied to it at any given time. So unbreakable, you have to have 1 available ability slot, reinforced 5, the tool has to be upgraded to netherite, and you have to have 2 shulker shells, a dragon's breath, and 2 netherite ingots, and then you will finally get an unbreakable tool. Of course, that's a tool with unlimited durability. It will never break. We're probably pretty far away from that though. So using the 16 iron reinforcements that we got, we were only able to get 1 tool up to 16 out of 24 for reinforced 1. So we're gonna need a lot more of those if we want to get every single tool up to reinforced 2. I think we're gonna need like a stack per tool. So we're going to need a lot more obsidian if we're going to do that. Now, fortunately, in this mod pack, you can actually wash magma blocks to get obsidian, which is really cool. So if we use, it's 6 obsidian per 8 obsidian pane, so we would need, I think it's 8 times 6 obsidian per tool, which is less than a stack per tool. So I think if we can get 3 stacks of magma blocks, we should be able to get enough to reinforce each one of these tools. We got the obsidian plates, and I'm just grinding all the rest of these iron reinforcements out. I thought about setting up an automated way to do this, but then I figured it'd probably just be quicker to do this the first time. If I ever have to do this again, I'm definitely gonna automate this. So we got each of the tools up to reinforced 2, the pickaxe, the matic, and the cobalt sword. So all of those should be good to go for now. I don't know how much durability that's going to save us. I think it's actually quite a bit, but we'll see if we can upgrade them a little bit later even more. There's actually one more tool I forgot about that I wanted to make, and that is the vein hammer, which essentially is a way of doing vein mining. So the vein hammer is a broad mining tool. It harvests blocks the same type in veins. It is optimal for getting all ore veins in one hit. So it is effective on stone and ores, and it has bonus piercing damage, which I guess is pretty cool. So to make this, we actually need a hammer head, a pickaxe head, and we have to make a large plate along with a tough handle. I'm not exactly sure how we make a tough handle, but I think we could probably do that. Yeah, we just need extra wood to make the tough handle. So I think we're going to make that one last tool, and then we should be good to go with our tinker tools. Okay, so we got everything we need for the vein hammer, and just to show you what we had to do in order to get this, we had to make a tinker's anvil. Now, to make one of these, you actually need either zinc, limestone. There's a bunch of different blocks you can use in the shape of a regular old anvil. In this case, I ended up using steel because it was rather easy to get. You can get steel in this mod pack. Let's look for steel ingot. You can get steel by just bulk blasting iron, so that was easy enough. We just had to get 3 steel blocks with some seared bricks in a crafting grid, and we get the tinker's anvil. Then from here, I can just click on vein miner, put in all of the parts that we want. We're using cobalt once again, and then we have it. So there we go. We got all the tools we need. I think we're going to add the diamond to this. I think you can add a diamond. Yep. And we're going to reinforce it as well. And then we should be good to go on tools. So that's all of the tinker tools that I wanted to make. And I even forgot about one more tool, and that is, I think it's pronounced comma. And this is useful for clearing out crops, harvesting crops, and for breaking leaves. So if we ever need to break a ton of leaves, this will come in handy. So we have all of the tools that we wanted to start off with. So that's number 2 off of our to-do list. Now number 3 is actually the gold farm. I think I'm going to hold off on that for a little bit because I don't really need much gold right now. Then we need progress towards brass and clearing out surrounding areas. Now I think I want to start looking into clearing out surrounding areas, but we are completely surrounded by jungle for many blocks. And since I'm going to be building a mega base that's going to be about 100 by 100 blocks, clearing out a space in the jungle is just going to be ridiculous. So I don't think we're actually going to build our base over here. So on the exploration that we did find this kind of flatter area over here, but I don't actually know if this is big enough. I don't think it is, but over here by the village, there's actually a meadow, and I think that this might work out pretty well. I'll have to do a bit of exploration, but either way, we have to find an area that is big enough, flatten it out to 100 by 100, and then start looking to see if we can gather some materials for the mega base. It will require a lot of materials, and I don't expect it to be done in this episode. I know I said last episode we might be finishing the mega base, but I don't think we will be finishing it by the end of this episode. I did a bit more looking around. We went over to the meadow over here behind the village, but that is way too hilly. It would take me way too long to flatten out an 100 by 100 area. This area over here, which is a little bit flatter, but it's not big enough, unfortunately. But this area that I'm currently in the wetlands, this area is pretty flat. We will have to take down, I think, one hill over in that direction and a little bit here and there. But I've actually mapped out a 100 by 100 area, which is a lot bigger than it sounds, actually. And yeah, I think that this will work. I love this biome. It's a little swampy. Like I said, it's called the wetlands biome. I don't know which mod it is from exactly, but there's tons of wildlife and tons of scenery. I I think this would be perfect for our mega base. So I'm gonna plop down a portal here. We're gonna note the coordinates, and then I think we'll map it up in the nether so that it is easier for us to get over here back from our base, because we're pretty much relocating over to here once we get the mega base up and running. So I figured I'd actually walk back to my base because I wanted to do a bit of exploration, and we actually ended up finding 2 more meteorites from Applied Energistics, and we got 3 different presses from those. I think there's 4 total that you need to get started with Applied Energistics, and we actually found this mansion. I think this is a woodland mansion. It's actually gigantic. I'm not exactly sure if that's what it is, because there could be other things from the mod pack that I just don't know about. I think it is, though. So it might be worth exploring this. We aren't super geared to be able to clear this out. We could always come back. Yeah, there's a lot of guys in there. I think we might end up coming back once we get a little bit more geared, but it is probably definitely worth exploring this. I'm hoping I can eventually find a dungeon as well, because I wanted to get some spawners and set up like a basic mob farm, especially skeletons, so we can start to get some bones, because we're gonna need a lot of white dye for our mega base. Okay, exploration update. I was exploring another one of those abandoned mine shaft thingies, and we fell through some broken stone, fell all that way, and landed in water. I should like play the lottery or something. This is probably enough exploration for one day. Let's go home. And I should have listened to myself, because we explored too hard and we died. And now we gotta go all the way up here to get our stuff back, down in a giant scary cave. And there he is, ladies and gents. This is a pretty cool mod, the corpse mod. Makes it so that you can get all your stuff back, and so that your dead body kind of lays there. R.I.P. Okay, home sweet home. So on our adventures, we found a bunch of random stuff, but one of the highlights is we actually found 15 buddy card packs, which we just opened, and we just got the achievement for the base set, which is we collected every card from the base set. I think that was like 27 cards or so. So once we get our base up and running, we're definitely going to have to start displaying all these cards, because we finally completed one of the sets. I think we're pretty close to completing the Farmer's Delight set as well. So with each set that you complete, you actually get a medal, and I don't know what the base set medal gives you. If you wear each medal, it gives you a specific ability or something. I guess we could just put it on and see. So we'll put it on here. And what did that give us? Speed! Oh, that's pretty cool. All right. Okay, we now got a newbie nether highway set up. This nether portal will take us to the site where our future mega base is going to be, and we've got it kind of hooked up, like I said, with this noobish tunnel all the way back to where our home base currently is. So now I think it's time that we do a little bit of clearing out of the area where we're going to be building the mega base, and start figuring out all of the materials that we're going to need and how we're going to farm them. So the biggest material that we're going to need is white concrete. We're going to need about 19,000 blocks of white concrete, which means we're going to need somewhere around 40 stacks of white dye, and I think it's somewhere along the lines of 9 to 10,000 gravel and 9 to 10,000 sand, which is absolutely ridiculous. We can build a gravel farm pretty easily, but the sand is probably going to be a little more challenging because we don't have crushing wheels yet, and we won't actually be able to get crushing wheels until we can make a mechanical crafter, and for that we need our brass machine. So we may be stuck with just doing millstones for now to get the gravel. But anyway, I think we're going to go ahead and start clearing out the space where our base is going to be. So I will give you guys progress updates on that as we go. Okay, quick progress update here. I'm going through this land and we are clearing it out. I think we're about halfway done, so we got this side completely done. This is probably a good 25 blocks or so. I could probably pull this up on the map. You can start seeing the squares starting to form, so you can see the edges of the 100 by 100 square. There's still a ton of trees. We're just kind of going through with our mechanical saw, and we're taking down all of the trees, and there is a pretty big hill in the corner here as well. Over here we have a tiny little hill left there. The hill in the corner is right over there. And yeah, there's one little pond left, and that should about do it. Then we just got to get rid of all of the trees. So I'm going to keep on cranking with clearing out the area for our mega base. The entirety of the 100 by 100 area is now completely cleared out and is ready for the construction of our mega base. So like I said, we do have a ton of materials that we need to collect up before we can start building the base. And I don't know if we're going to start building it next episode. We're definitely not going to start building it right now because I'm pretty much out of time for this episode. But we will be concentrating on collecting up as many of the resources as possible and hopefully starting construction in next episode. So right over here, I actually set up a gravel farm, and we're going to need about three double chests of gravel, 3 double chests of sand, and then somewhere around 40 stacks of white dye to get all the white concrete that we're going to need for this build. We're going to need some extra sand as well to build a bunch of windows, and we're going to need stone and glowstone and a lot of iron as well. To get the white dye, I actually found that there is a roguelike dungeon not too far from here. So we could go there and grab a bunch of spawners, mainly skeleton spawners, so that we can farm up the bones that we're going to need for the white dye. I'm super stoked to get this going. In the meantime, I actually think I'm going to move most of the industry that I have set up already over to here and just kind of plot it down where it would actually be inside of the mega base so that when we get construction going, I won't have to move anything again. But yeah, ladies and gents, I hope you enjoyed this episode. There is tons of wildlife around here making all kinds of noises. But once again, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you liked it, please don't hesitate to hit that thumbs up. And be sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell for notifications so you don't miss when future... stop interrupting me! So you don't miss when future episodes come out. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and I'll see you again. Bye-bye.
Yeah, we are in the place to be. Yeah.